Good evening tonight from the Vatican, where we witnessed history made here late today. The first ever American Pope, the Cardinals in the conclave electing Cardinal Robert Prevost from the south side of Chicago. Tonight he is Pope Leo XIV. The eyes of the world on that chimney above the Sistine Chapel when white smoke began to emerge, signaling there is a new Pope. You can hear the cheers that erupted here in St. Peter's Square, that message then confirmed by the ringing of the bells here at St. Peter's Basilica, echoing across the city of Rome. Tens of thousands in the square cheering, thousands more getting alerts on their phones that there was a new pope. They began running to the square. Many got here in time, the square overflowing. A little more than an hour later, a cardinal appearing, delivering the message everyone was waiting to hear.
Habemus Papam.
Habemus Papam, we have a pope. And then the moment the pope was revealed, Cardinal Prevost, born in Chicago, who studied at Villanova, then joining the priesthood, becoming a missionary in Peru. At 69, he is considered young to be a pope, Italian media calling him the least American of the American cardinals. In the crowd below, American flags begin waving there, people from all over the world celebrating as he waved to them. In his address, the new pope's first words, "Peace be with you all." His repeated message of unity, saying God loves everyone, and his choice of the name of Leo, and what it signals tonight about his papacy ahead. Tonight, hear my interviews with Americans who were in the square, who could not believe the history they were witnessing. And I talk with Father James Martin, who knows the Pope, describing him as a kind, humble man, and a decisive one, too. Tonight here, the American Pope. Tonight, 24 hours and 21 minutes after the doors closed to the Sistine Chapel, the white smoke seen by the world late today. The applause, the cheers erupting from St. Peter's Square, and the wait would begin here. Tens of thousands gathered here in the square and beyond, waiting to see the new Pope and to learn who it will be. Inside the Sistine Chapel, 133 cardinals choosing one of their own, and he was about to make history, the first ever Pope from the United States. Good afternoon, live from the Vatican. We're coming back on the air because there is smoke again coming from the chimney. Let's go right to the live picture, the swell of applause from the square right here, St. Peter's Square, obviously. And you can see right there would appear to be a white smoke, which would be an extraordinary development here in Vatican City. The white smoke coming after the fourth ballot, the anticipation growing here. Some running to the square after alerts on their phones, trying to find a place already overflowing St. Peter's Square. The bells ringing out. While inside the Sistine Chapel, he is asked, "Do you accept your election as Supreme Pontiff?" The moment he said yes, he became Pope. And he was asked, "By what name do you wish to be called?" It's believed he was then brought to the Room of Tears, where he chose a cassock from several hanging in that room. And as tens of thousands waited in St. Peter's Square, and millions waited watching from all over the world, Cardinal Protodeacon Dominique Momberti of France walking out onto that balcony and declaring, "Habemus Papam, we have a Pope."
Habemus Papam.
And then delivering his name.
Dominum Robertum Franciscum, Sancte Romane Ecclesiae, Cardinalem Prevost.
Cardinal Robert Prevost, and revealing he has chosen a name.
Leonem Decimum Quartum.
He will be known as Pope Leo XIV, the crowd chanting Leo. Born in Chicago in 1955, he is 69 years old, considered young compared to recent popes. He could lead the church of 1.4 billion Catholics for some time to come. We have just heard that Robert Francis Prevost of the United States, 69 years old, born in Chicago, has been named the next Pope. There had been so much talk about whether or not there was a slim possibility that there would be an American Pope, one from the United States. He went to college at Villanova, studied mathematics. Italian media has referred to him as the least American of the Americans because of his quiet, humble way. He had years of missionary experience in Peru. The voting cardinals in red on the balconies of St. Peter's Basilica. And then we see him, Pope Leo XIV, the first pope ever from the U.S., On the balcony, the cheers deafening as he waves. The Pope is visibly moved. Some in the crowd waving American flags, children in tears on their parents' shoulders, the nun with her hands in prayer. And then his first words to the faithful as Pope. Peace be with you all, dearest brothers and sisters.
La pace sia con tutti voi.
He spoke of Pope Francis blessing Rome and the world that Easter morning, saying, allow me to follow up on that same blessing. God loves us. God loves you all.
Dio ci vuole bene. Dio vi ama tutti.
And evil will not prevail. He went on to say, help us too to build bridges with dialogue, with encounter, uniting us all to be one people, always in peace.
Voglio ringraziare anche tutti confratelli cardinali che
He thanked the cardinals who chose him to be the next pope. And this was his wish to millions watching, that this be a church that builds bridges, dialogue, always open to receive, like this square, with open arms. All those who need our charity, our presence, and love. And a church that always tries to be close, especially to those who suffer. And the new pope, who was born in Chicago, serving the church in the U.S. and in Rome, and in Peru, where Pope Francis sent him. He was a missionary, a priest, a bishop in Chiclayo, Peru, where he helped the poor. And today, he sent a message to the world in choosing to go by Pope Leo XIV.
The choice of Leo XIV, everyone looks to that name to try to figure out what kind of message the Pope is trying to send from the very start. And what do you make of it?
Historically, it's a name that would signal his alignment with workers, labor, and the poor.
And that's going to be his outreach from the very beginning.
Certainly that's his intention. I mean, he can expand that, but it's a real solid sign that that's the way he wants to be identified at the beginning.
We met this husband and wife from California, Louis and Suhey Bernal, who raced 2 miles to the square after getting the alert there was a new pope.
What about him and what he said here today?
I loved his message when he said building bridges through dialogue.
From the moment we saw the white smoke begin to emerge from that chimney, you could see the size of the crowd swelling. People actually running down the street trying to make it to the square to actually see the new pope emerge on that balcony. And inside the crowd was a group of students from the University of Chicago who could not believe the history they were witnessing. He began by saying, peace be with you, and he talked about building bridges. And what do you think that means?
I feel like it's a continuation of what Francis was doing and reaching those people on the margins.
And Christina Mori from Indianapolis. She was at the front of the square, meeting American seminarians and making friends with young people from all over the world, taking in the moment.
There was a lot of hope and joy into what this new chapter could bring. And there were 7 other countries touching shoulders. We all spoke different languages, we all had different interpretations of what was going on, but we were all together in that spirit of unity and excitement.
And the American seminarians you were standing with as well were equally as shocked.
Oh, they were all just jaws dropped.
And we met young college students Elise Hartnig and Lily Weber from Chicago, witnessing the history made with the Pope from their hometown.
What connected you with Pope Francis, and what do you hope from Pope Leo?
Yeah, so Pope Francis, I just feel, was very grounded, and he brought the communities all together throughout the world. And I hope Pope Leo continues that and brings on his legacy throughout his time being a pope.
And the fact that he's from Chicago.
And the fact that he's from Chicago?
We'll be back there in 2 days, so.
Tough but compassionate city, right?
Yes. We'll bring back the love to Chicago.
And tonight here, the new and moving images from inside the Vatican. While the world was waiting to learn who the new pope would be, he was standing before the cardinals who elected him, right there at the altar in the Sistine Chapel. They began applauding as the new pope, Leo XIV, made his way out of the chapel and began his journey to that balcony to meet the world.